Hello, welcome to this beautiful afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on today's first and very foremost episode of Eber's Case Files. So, this Case Files is actually a series on the Eber Show where we actually dissect any winning loyalty programs of the season. So, in terms of each episode, we take one real brand and one real strategy, and we break it down on what actually worked and why it worked, and what marketers and founders like you can learn from it. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. We are definitely looking at Mee Tarik Jalan Sultan, a well-loved China Muslim restaurant brand in Malaysia that didn't just launch a loyalty program, but turned it into real growth. So through their smart tiering, their campus activation, and also their habit-driven festive campaigns, Mee Tarik was able to achieve over 70% of membership growth, stronger repeat visits for sure, and also measurable revenue impacting across 6 of their outlets currently in Malaysia right now. So today's case file, I'm super honored to be hosting you. My name is Ellie. Let's just dive right in, everyone. Let's break down on how they did it. So essentially, Mee Tarik, their first spotlight is that they are very much a well-loved Chinese Muslim restaurant brand with, again, 6 outlets in Malaysia. They are very much known for their hand-pulled noodles, and they also identify a need to turn their large student and family customer base into a structured retention engine. So let me start with something honest, right? So most loyalty programs don't fail because of bad ideas. They usually fail because they never move behaviors. Customers sign up, they earn a few points, and then nothing really changes. So they don't really see visits in increasing visits, and their spending usually stays flat. And the program slowly becomes background noise. So today isn't really about how to launch a loyalty program. It's actually about how loyalty actually drives growth when it's designed with intention. And so Mee Tarik is actually such a great practical case to look into. So Mee Tarik Jalan Sultan is a well-loved China Muslim restaurant brand in Malaysia, as mentioned, and they currently hold 6 outlets across within this region in itself. So they have strong foot traffic. They have a loyal base of students, families, and regulars as well. So on the surface, you could say things were really working quite well. But under the surface, there was a familiar problem that a lot of F&Bs, especially within today's market, see. Customers came in, they enjoyed the food, but there was not really a system to bring them back. So what this means is there's no really a structured way for them to return, and not really a structured way to turn, for example, if their highest people coming in are students and families, right? They can't really turn students into regulars, not really much of an incentive there. Families into repeat diners, and also targeting first-time visitors into regular customers, essentially. And so, like a lot of F&B brands today, they were sitting on a gold mine that they couldn't fully utilize, and customer volume they had, but without customer memory. So essentially what they really wanted, when we break it down, they were trying to solve 3 very specific problems. So the first one is they were trying to solve repeat visits, which essentially turning occasional diners, especially students right now, into regular. The second goal that we're trying to achieve was to provide tangible value, which means to offer meaningful incentives that encourage members to return multiple times a month. And of course, to do all that, they needed a system to host and regulate their insights. So they really wanted to deploy a simple system that works seamlessly for their frontline staff to capture data, and this, they wanted to capture it very consistently across outlets. So here's where this case gets quite interesting. So Mee Tarik didn't ask what features should our loyalty program have. They asked what behaviors should our loyalty program have, and what behaviors actually mattered for our business. So they were thinking very behavioral centric, and that question led them to a very clear strategy built on these very 3 pillars that you're looking at the screen right here. So just very simple 3 pillars. First of it is the high potential tiers. So the first pillar here was essentially your tiering, right? But not in the way that most brands did it. Instead of creating tiers based purely on spend, Mee Tarik focused on potential. So what that means is they looked at their data and reality on the ground. And students were already coming in quite often, but quite casually as well. So instead of treating students as their low value customers, they created a dedicated student tier. And this did a few very important things, actually. It made students, of course, feel very recognized, very welcome, and also very intentionally targeted. But more importantly, it reframed students as future lifetime customers. This wasn't really about squeezing short-term revenue for Mee Tarik. It was really about starting a relationship early and letting it grow naturally. So why this student here worked, right? If you think about it for a moment, students, they usually don't have high spend per visit, but they do have high frequency of visits. And this frequency beats spend every time in the long run. So by lowering the barrier of entry for these students and making benefits relevant, Mee Tarik was able to create a loyalty habit that was marked very early on for these students. And the students sign up, of course, very much easily, and they enjoyed the perks. And over time, these students, they recognize, transition into regular members without any forced upsell, without any pressure, just natural progression. Right. So moving on to the second pillar that they were looking at was campus activation. So it ties in very naturally with the first point. This is where many brands I've seen hesitate. They wait for customers to discover loyalty in store. But Mee Tarik didn't. They went directly to campuses. So pop-ups, college events, these high energy social environments. And here's why this worked very well, in my opinion. Loyalty is very much contagious. So when people sign up together, it becomes a shared experience, not just a solo decision. And this just adds layer upon layer to Mee Tarik's entire marketing strategy. And these campus activations did two things at once. First, they created awareness. And second, they drove immediate signups at scale. So they didn't really needed to educate people on their loyalty programs, just a very clear message: sign up, get value, and start earning. So the third habit that Mee Tarik wanted to drive with their loyalty campaign is they wanted to turn loyalty into actual growth, right? So Mee Tarik made a very deliberate decision. Every festive season, every public holiday, it became a loyalty moment for them, and they introduced a very simple rule: double points during certain festive periods. It's very simple to understand, very simple to remember, and it's very predictable value for them. So why does predictability beat creativity in this circumstance, right? Here's a key insight that a lot of brands miss. Yes, they love surprises, but they also need certainty. So when members know when the value is coming and how to earn it and why it actually matters, they start planning their visits around it. And this just naturally turns festive seasons into behavioral triggers. And people didn't just come for food because they came because it made sense to come now. And that's how habits form. And so to keep it visible, Mee Tarik, strategy means nothing without executions. Mee Tarik needed a system that staff could use instantly, customers could understand very much immediately, and management could also scale easily. So the focus was on invisibility. QR signups were standardized, earning rules were pretty much consistent, and rewards worked the same everywhere. So they have the student mission mega deal. So from Monday to Friday, they get 10% off. Just sign up in store and get 100 points even on that day in itself. So within that strategy in itself, they were quite strategic. So their major footfall traffic is the outlet that they have currently in SS15. And Mee Tarik introduced that dedicated student here that we were talking about. So this segment is designed for a lifetime value, right? So students can sign up very easily, they enjoy specific benefits, and they transition to regular members after graduation. Talk about progression. And also we talked about the campus pop-ups previously just now as well. So what they looked into, these are some of the festive campaign examples that they drove. So for Christmas, as Christmas is coming up, I hope you guys have great holiday plans. They get 2 times Mee points. So as we were talking about, twice the points just to come in on a festive season. And that's pretty easy to do, especially for these students, and especially for the ones that are foreigners and are not going back home for Christmas and etc. And this made their value very much predictable, especially during holiday seasons. So the solution overall with their loyalty program powered by Eber is to have their minimal training rollout for their staff. So yes, they wanted to scale. They wanted a very predictable but also strategic loyalty program, but they also focus on 3 different things. First is consistent experience across all of their outlets. So this looks like QR signups, earning rules, and also the rewards standardized. Simple rollout, staff was able to very quickly learn how to onboard customers and manage the redemptions at the same time using the intuitive backend of eBird. So basically, they were able to regulate their redemptions. They were also able to easily sign members up because of how easy the customer journey was for them. And of course, Mee Tarik wanted something very flexible. Yes, right now it's very simple and strategic, but it was also a very great way to test out the current market behaviors of what they're dealing with. So they easily implemented student tiers, MeFam tiers, and also some upcoming staff tiers. This is also such a great rollout plan for their loyalty program to the year to come. So Eber was able to power all three of these. Essentially, what really was amazing was that the results was an absolute membership explosion. Comparing to the first 3 months versus the subsequent period, the program delivered immediate traction. So we've seen 70% in total membership growth within just a short time. And the student tier was able to accelerate super rapidly because of all these strategic campus events and also, of course, thanks to the student tier. And these aren't just passive members. These members are very much so active. They became even more significantly active during the campaign periods, which shows that, engagement was definitely compounding. So members came back more often. Yes, they're more active, and redemption rates also increase alongside earning. So this wasn't points inflation. It was just engagement compounding over one another. And so for a business perspective, what does this look like? And why does this matter to leadership today? The impact was pretty clear. Double-digit growth in member spending was such a huge whopping news for the management team. They also seen a higher transaction volume from loyal customers, and they also saw a strong contribution from student members. And so overall, this improved revenue consistency during festive periods and also long-term over time. So their loyalty stopped being just a marketing idea for Mee Tarik. And for Mee Tarik, it became and got integrated into part of their revenue model. So let's quickly walk through the journey, right? As we talked about how easy it was for Mee Tarik to roll this out, both back end as well as front end. The customers first come in. This is their sign up process: sign up, earn, redeem, and then, of course, return. And this was the loop that they were looking at. They were able to kind of put the loop in a way that's very tight. So in terms of sign up, customers easily scan QR codes. The staff assists via the store app. And with every value spent, they get 2 times points during certain campaigns and events, and also multipliers during festivals. And because of that, they were able to redeem very attractive rewards, and this also encouraged repeat engagement. And so this loop goes on and on and on. And Mee Tarik, of course, they didn't win because they had more rewards, but they won because they chose the right audience. They made value very predictable, and they remove friction everywhere. And that's really such a great playbook for us to look at. Yamuna had this quick word to say. Yamuna said, Eber's quick turnaround, detailed with execution and hands-on support, have made them one of the most reliable and enjoyable partners we've ever worked with at Mee Tarik Jalan Sultan. So Mee Tarik's story, again, is really just that reminder that loyalty doesn't need to be complicated. And of course, we have a lot of other case studies where brands emulate the same thing, and within a short period of time, they saw growth within their loyalty programs. And Mr. Tuk Tuk is also one of those key case studies that we were looking at earlier this month. So if you want to hear more, we will be diving into our next case files next month with Mr. Tuk Tuk, and you can actually see how the same strategy applied in different business models actually drove really good results for loyalty programs and loyalty engagement, as well as retention as a revenue in businesses today. So thank you again so much for joining us. My name is Ali from Eber. Do join us in our next one and visit our website for any updates